Alrighty, welcome. Okay, so today we're just gonna run these last two things. So we have some freight scenarios, and we have our final passenger, which is the M7. Let's get into the M7 now. Still have a bunch of stuff to download, so I'll be working on that over the next few weeks. Trying to see if we get all these packs to come through as well. Kind of go from there. But welcome everyone. Everybody's doing okay.
In this training module, you'll be taken through the operation of this M7 electrical multiple unit. Manufactured by Bombardier Transportation, the M7 was introduced in 2002. For this introduction, you'll be driving the train a short distance and performing passenger operations. The master key is used to activate the control desk.
Alright, so we gotta put in the master key.
Set the reverser. This controls the direction of travel. Set the headlights to let others around us know this train is operational. This unit has a combined power and brake handle called a master controller. Engage this as indicated to begin. You'll need to charge the brake pipe before you can release. The M7 was introduced in 2002 to replace the aging M1 stock, which had been in operation since the late 1960s. Between 1999 and 2006, more than 1,000 M7 and M7As were constructed, the latter of which run on the Metro North Railroad. Move the master controller into the power range to get moving.
Okay, everything's moving like it's supposed to. Let's get up to 30 miles an hour. This was interesting because it's the sun setting. Usually they have us go in the day. It looks like it's also fall. When we were doing it the other day, it didn't look like that.
Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce motor stress and maintenance. Keeping to speed limits is important. If you begin overspeeding, apply a small amount of braking force using the master controller. Each set of M7 were constructed as a married pair, with controls for an engineer, conductor or brakeman in each car. These units are known for their reliability. As of 2007, the M7 has the highest mean distance between failures out of the entire Long Island Railroad fleet.
That's good.
You're approaching the station. Gently bring the train to a stop using the master controller.
I've done a lot of the Long Island Railroad stuff on here, so if you watched any of the older videos, you've probably seen it like all the time. But I did like the whole
Close the doors and drive to the
timetable.
next station unguided.
Okay, the doors are closed, so I actually move it. That was weird. Alright, so we're going to do one passenger. This is the passenger one. Then we have 2 freight tutorials lined up. So for the freight tutorials, they're going to be long. They're about a half an hour each. Again, we haven't downloaded everything, so it's going to be tutorials done up to a point. We've done about 47 of them through stream, so you'll be able to watch all those if you're interested. We've done them multiple times, though, throughout the games, but this is on the newest version. And then just keep in mind that there's still more that we have to download, so there'll be more tutorials down the road. Alright, but appreciate anybody hanging out right now. Thank you for stopping by. Let the train coast. About 35 miles an hour. It's manageable. And don't forget, if you haven't followed, hey Cyan, how's it going? How is your Sunday evening going? Question for you, Cyan. Have you been playing, or have you ever played the firefighting simulator? We just got that one for free. It's also from Astragon. I was playing it, and then last night it crashed on me, but it's multiplayer. I don't know if it's cross-platform. I haven't checked yet. But that and Construction Sim, we still got to figure out. If you have it, we figure out how we can get all those things running. But welcome. If you don't follow Cyan, you should. Cyan's typically... I have it on PlayStation, but it may be on Steam. If you don't follow Cyan, you should. He's been doing a lot of flight sim, typically Wednesdays and Thursdays, about midday Eastern time for us is evening for him. So yeah. Okay, let's break. Beautiful. That's the end of this one. All right, so the next two are going to be freight ones. They are 30 minutes each, so just understand they're going to be long. We did one of them before because the reason it's so long is because we're charging the brake system on a coal train. That takes a while in real life, so they actually literally mirrored that. So, okay, so we're done. Let's go back to the training center, get back into that other train. I have a bunch of packs to download and things. But yes, we are live. I gotta figure out a way to kind of... My setup for this with the camera and everything usually takes a little bit longer, which is why it doesn't always pop up during the week. Also, I like to give my wife a little more space in the apartment when she comes home from work, because this does take up a little bit of space. But we're working on finding some new ways to utilize our space. Eventually it'll be nice to have my own dedicated room for these things, but that will come. So this one's long, 30 minutes, and this one's long as well. So let's jump into this one. Yeah, Firefighter Sim. Yeah, do you have it already, or you're thinking about getting it? It is multiplayer, but I don't know if it's cross-platform. That's the only problem. I didn't look yet. But you can play with up to 4 other people in multiplayer. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's not like obviously it's like a little, it's a game, right? So there's like limits to how dangerous things can be,
Welcome to driver training at the training center.
but it's fun.
Today, you'll be learning how to drive this EMD SD40-2 locomotive in BNSF Railway livery. The SD40-2 started production in 1972, with the last unit being built in 1986. Rated at 3,000 horsepower and weighing at least 170 tons, the SD40-2 is rated with a continuous tractive effort of 831,000 pounds. Over 4,000 SD40-2 locomotives were produced by EMD in various configurations, and many are still in use today, 50 years after they were first introduced. When you're ready to begin, climb aboard.
Alright, so this one, we going through the front. I did one of these the other day, it was a little shorter. The other one though, you entered from here, but this one we're gonna enter through the door. Alright, close the door. Sit down.
Now you'll go through the steps needed to take over this locomotive. Firstly, you will need to set the generator field switch. This needs to be enabled for the throttle to control the power of the train. This locomotive requires the reverser handle to be inserted before operation. The reverser determines the direction of travel. Switch the front headlights on. Regardless of the time of day or weather, all locomotives must have their headlights on. When getting moving, it's worth remembering the following sequence. Independent on, auto off, throttle on, independent off. Let's go through that slowly and understand why. First, fully apply the independent brake. Now, this will ensure that regardless of anything else, your train won't move. Next, fully release the automatic brake. This will release the brakes on the rest of the train, but you won't go anywhere because those independent brakes are holding you. Now, apply a small amount of throttle and verify that power is generated. Finally, release the independent brake and you'll start moving. This is a great practice to get used to because it'll help you with two key areas. The first is that you verify that the train will take power before you release the brakes. You don't want to find yourself without power and having to hurriedly put the brakes back on. The second is that having power applied as you release the independent brakes ensures that you won't roll backwards. On steeper hill starts, you may even need to start with more power. And this is something you can practice and get used to as you find yourself out on the railroad. If you have any locomotives on the rear of the train behind freight cars, you can press the banking comms button to enable radio communications with those remote units. This will ensure that they operate their throttle and brakes in unison with your own locomotive, giving you much-needed extra control on your journey. Press it now, just to get practice, even though there aren't any connected. Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce motor stress and maintenance requirements. Come to a stop in the indicated position using the independent brake. Independent brakes apply only to the locomotives in the formation and are much faster to apply and release than the automatic brake, which operates on the entire train.
Alright, so we're gonna stop ahead. They'll probably make us back into one set of these consist here after we change the switches. and then we'll come back. So typical stuff that we've done. We had a similar one with this one. It wasn't 30 minutes though, so I'm surprised that this one's 30 minutes. Maybe they have something else that they have us do, like a charging or something. But we'll see. All right, so far just coasting ahead. We're gonna stop by here. Again, we're probably back into one of these sidings to connect to one of these containers. Make a full consist and then go from there. I don't think they make us do too much like yard movement in the tutorial, but we'll see. Alright, there's an incoming ad break if you're watching live. Hang out. I know some people are subscribed, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to apply a little bit of brake.
Change direction with a reverser. Then change the junction indicated, either by walking over to it or using the map. Before proceeding, check the two couplers are in the right position to allow for automatic coupling. Look at the rear coupler on your train and ensure it's open. Operate the cut bar if it is closed to release it. Next, walk over to the freight cars you're going to couple to and check their coupler knuckle is open too.
Yeah,
operate the cut bar here to open the knuckle.
Yeah, they made us do this on the other one the other day, so not a surprise here.
Before coupling cars, always check the knuckles are open.
All right, cool.
Or you'll
Welcome
just
back.
bounce right off.
Oh, Cyan, there's some channel points. You could try them out, see if any of them work. Oh, what type of dealer is it? I have this one, like a car sale one that I used to play a few years ago that I got on Steam for like $4. I haven't played in a while though. But yeah, what type of dealer is it?
Okay. The junction is correctly aligned and the cars are ready to couple. Couple up to the cars by gently driving into them at a slow speed. Most freight uses automatic knuckle couplers, so they will automatically couple once they connect.
Yeah, what type of dealing? Oh, can sell various items, okay. Because they used to be pretty popular, like drug dealing simulators back in the day.
If your speed is too high, you risk derailing when coupling. Apply some brakes to slow your approach.
Yeah, have you played the firefighting simulator? This should be slow enough.
Hey, nice work. Now change direction with the reverser and move the train forward into the indicated siding. Remember to apply a little power before releasing brakes. While it's not strictly necessary in the training center, this is the time to start forming great habits. Since you have freight cars coupled, you should slow down using the automatic brake and get the extra braking effort from those freight cars. The automatic brake applies brakes throughout the entire train.
Okay, yeah. Check it out. Yep, that's it. Yep, yep, yep. The squad. Yeah, so that one has a multiplayer. The thing is, I don't know if it's... I haven't checked. I'll check later to see if it's crossplay. And I'll send you a message if it is. But you can play with up to 4 people. Because if you don't have multiplayer or other people playing, it's just AI that works with you. But it's pretty good. There are different fire trucks you can drive, different scenarios, different equipment you have to use depending on the type of fire. They teach you about backdrafts, and it's actually pretty nice. I've enjoyed it so far. I just downloaded it the other day. Oh, it's expensive? Okay, no worries. Yeah, maybe it'll end up on... oh my god, this thing does not want to stop.
Uncouple the cars either by using the external camera or by walking to the cars on foot.
Maybe one day it'll end up on
That's it
Game
for this
Pass.
training module.
Because it ended up on the PlayStation 1. Alright, we're done. Okay, so that was supposed to be a half an hour. It only was 11 minutes and 46 seconds. So I don't know what happened there. Alright, so this is the last one here. This one definitely is long because it takes forever for the brakes to charge. So we'll jump into that one. Yeah, so far it's been pretty good, Cyan. It's interesting. Yeah, Cyan, check out some, I don't know if it's gonna work, but check out some of the channel points. I tried to add some things. I'll see if it'll work, because sometimes it's been a little interesting on OBS, but we shall see. Alright, so this week I'm gonna also try to download more of the DLC that we already have for this game.
Alright, in this training module, you'll be learning about the different brake types found in a typical U.S. freight locomotive. Take a seat in the engineer's position.
Oh, it actually worked. Nice. That one actually worked. Perfect. Very cool. Yeah, it only works when I'm obviously connected with everything here. It's a lot of learning new stuff because before with Twitch Studio everything was kind of in it, like packaged, but here I have to put a lot of stuff together.
Now you'll go
I know you
through
do
the
have a
steps
ton of points.
needed
Yeah,
to take over this locomotive.
I have a ton of points on your channel, but you screwed us over. You started increasing the prices on everything. I remember that. Yeah, I guess we were using them too much for what you liked, huh? You start adding inflation to all of them.
Now, this locomotive has 3 types of brakes: independent, automatic, and dynamic. And the operation of them can be counterintuitive until you get the hang of how they work. The independent brake applies brakes on just the locomotives and should be used when running a light loco or performing hill starts. They respond very quickly, but won't be of great use when you've got a long, heavy train behind you. The automatic brake applies brakes on the entire formation and should be used when bringing a consist to a stop, assisting the dynamic brakes on steep descents, or otherwise making more substantial speed decreases. These brakes are slow to respond, and you can't partially release them. So if you want a bit less braking, you have to release them entirely, wait for the system to repressurize, and then you can reapply. The dynamic brake uses the locomotive's traction motors to slow the train down. These can be very effective at controlling your speed on descents, and are mostly effective between around 10 and 30 miles per hour. Either side of that, you're going to need one of the other brake systems. There are several gauges used to describe what is happening in the brake system of this locomotive, and they're common to a wide range of locomotives. The brake cylinder, or BC gauge, tells you the amount of pressure going directly onto the wheels. This is ultimately how much braking effort is stopping your train. If it's zero, the train is not applying any brakes. The independent brake lever directly controls this, but be aware that this is only reporting the state of the brake cylinder on your own locomotive, and not the rest of the train. Apply the independent brake now to full, and notice that the BC gauge rapidly changes. The brake pipe, or BP gauge, tells you the amount of pressure on the brake pipe that extends the length of the entire train. On U.S. freight, this is pressurized to 90 psi as normal. The brake pipe serves two functions. One is to provide air to all the freight cars down the length of the train so they can charge their own reservoirs. The other is that its pressure controls what the other vehicles do with their brakes. At 90 psi, the brakes on all vehicles will be released. As the brake pressure in the brake pipe drops below 90 psi, the other vehicles will apply brakes. Depending on the length of your train, changing the pressure on the brake pipe can be quite time-consuming, whether charging it up to release the brakes or reducing the pressure to apply them. And this is the reason that automatic brakes are tricky to use. The brake pipe works in conjunction with another system called the equalizing reservoir. Because charging the brake pipe is time-consuming, and you don't want to be watching that to find the right pressure, the equalizing reservoir is a much faster responding gauge and is what you primarily use to control the brake pipe. The automatic brake handle controls the equalizing reservoir. Apply the brakes a little with a lever, it'll cause the equalizing reservoir to lower in pressure rapidly to the desired level. This causes the brake pipe to begin slowly changing to match the equalizing reservoir, and it'll automatically stop once it has done so. Release the automatic brake, and you will see the equalizing reservoir rapidly rise back to 90 psi. At this point, the final reservoir will come into action. The main reservoir, shown as MR on the HUD. This is a high-pressure reservoir which is used to feed air pressure back into the brake pipe to make it go up again. You'll see the brake pipe begin to climb, the main reservoir begin to drop, and periodically the compressor will start up to put more air back into the main reservoir until the brake pipe finally matches the equalizing reservoir again. Now, there are some key behaviors of this system to remember. The longer the formation, the slower the brake pipe will be to respond. You cannot partially release automatic brakes. If you are braking too much, you may need to fully release the brakes, allow the brake pipe to get back to 90 psi again, and then you can reapply them. This should be carefully considered, however, as you will have no air brakes during this time. Bring the train to a stop in the indicated position, using the automatic brake.
Alright, so we'll make a little loop here. We're pulling a very long train. See everything in the back there. If we look at the thing here, you'll see just how long this train is. Put the banking comm on. Hopefully we're getting a little bit more power out of the whole unit. I don't know if it's set to actually respond during the tutorial or not. Hopefully we get it all to stop as well. I actually see a lot of these trains coming through my neighborhood. Usually they're carrying like garbage and cardboard, and they're all like very, very slow. Because there's like a 15-mile-an-hour limit for them on this particular bridge because it's so old. So we get from coasting here. It's not telling us how big the consist is. I know there's a button on some of the trains to like do a count. I don't see it on this one, but because everything's digital here. Okay, we're coming around. Try to keep it low speed. I don't want to go too crazy so we lose all of it. But we're at 34. Start braking pretty soon. Let's make sure to put the automatic brake set. We're not going that fast, so hopefully we'll stop sometime. So this is minimum. Now does take a while, they said, for this to come back up. Actually, that wasn't too bad, because we're only at minimum, so it came up pretty quickly. You see we're still slowing down here. There's still a little bit of pressure left in it. Ooh, this is good. So there is a study that says that video games boost cognition, exercise improves mental health. Who would have thunk it? We all did, actually, who play video games. It does help you. I believe it helps you problem solve. I'm even in frustration, but I'll save that article and read it for later. Let's go full service. Gonna take a few seconds for it to kick in. Oh, we might have even been able to use the dynamic to slow it down a little bit. And that's one of the reasons that when things are on the track, they don't try to stop these long trains.
That concludes this training.
That wasn't a half an hour either.
It's covered a lot of theory, but understanding the way these brakes work will help you understand why your train.
There used to be one that literally was a half an hour because they made you charge the brakes from zero, and that took forever.
Fully controllable.
I guess they swapped that one out.
But equally, they must manage massive, long, and heavy trains on steep gradients, an entirely different kind of challenge. Run this module again in the training center, and repeat it any time you need a refresher.
And don't forget, the dynamic brake is your friend, but it works best between 10 miles an hour and 30 miles an hour, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so that is done. Let's take a look. Command and concrete. Let's see, maybe we'll do one more thing before we're done. That was the only plan for today, was to do those two modules there. And we completed at least the current training modules that were here. Let's see. So you see, some of the stuff came up. Let's see. I'm a little sad that at least, I don't know if it was supposed to, but a lot of stuff didn't transfer over. Like, I did a lot of those scenarios and other things already, but it didn't transfer over. I mean, the plan was just to do those two things for today, so I think that's where we're gonna leave it for now. Also, a weird thing here is that, like, these training things didn't pop in. Let's take a look at the route intro here for Cajon Pass. Look at this intro.
Welcome to Barstow in San Bernardino County, Southern California. Here you can explore the expansive freight yard before you head out, following the famous Route 66 through the Mojave Desert into San Bernardino. There's a missing safety sign over there. Let's go fix it while you're here.
Like I said, over there, like it was right at that point. It's pretty far away.
There are many more tasks to discover on this route. Along the way, make sure to put up route maps, install safety signs, refill water caches, and visit the food trucks. Today, we'll be riding along in this ES4. To date, BNSF have rostered over 300 ES-44C4 units. The ES in the name of this model denotes that it's part of GE's Evolution series. And the 44, its rated horsepower of 4,400.
It's interesting.
C denotes that it has 3 axles per truck, and the 4, it's 4 traction motors. Barstow Yard contains 48 directional tracks. It covers a total area of 593 acres. That's 240 hectares. It is the second largest marshalling yard west of the Rocky Mountains. Although this yard has been in operation since the 19th century, much of what you see today was constructed in the early 1970s at a cost of over $50 million. Today, around 1,000 staff are employed here to route freight to and from the Mojave, Needles, and Cajon subdivisions. Each year, over 150,000 locomotives stop at or pass through Barstow Yard. And each day, over 175,000 tons of freight is moved through San Bernardino County. On this route, you will learn to operate ES-44C4 as you tackle stunning mountain ranges through the winding curves of California. And serve local industry as you switch and cut formations in the SD-40-2. You pick the pace. This is Train Sim World, Cajon Pass.
Done with that intro. Now, I know that this one also has a freight introduction for steep hills and such. We'll take a look at that. Okay, so let's see if we could do this Cajon freight. I'm trying to give some freight some time here because I know a lot of the viewers like the freight ones, but we don't do a lot of them. I don't mind doing them, they're just very long, so I prefer the passenger things because it gets a little more options, but on average some of the freight ones are like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I find some are even longer if you're doing it the right way, so just a mix of things here. They really pumped up this the sound here with this orchestra. We did a few mobile games a few weeks ago. If you want to know how we did that, you could always reach out in Discord. I'll talk you through that one as well, where we streamed them.
Okay, in this training module, you'll be learning how to perform a hill start and practice the switch from throttle to braking as you crest a gradient and go from ascending to descending. You'll be using GEES-44C4 locomotives hauling
Just use this
heavy intermodal freight.
Just make sure the banking comms are on.
Now you'll go through the steps needed to take over this locomotive.
Generator switch. What did I do? Oh, I did this and they got mad at me probably. No? Oh, that was weird. It perceived the handle as not being in.
Remembering the following sequence
That was strange.
was covered in the locomotive training modules. Independent on, auto off. Throttle on, independent off.
On.
Let's go through that slowly and understand
on,
why.
Auto off. Throttle on. What's going on with this thing? It's not behaving right now. Alright, just hang tight, guys. I'm gonna restart this one. Because it is not behaving like it's supposed to. Alright, we're gonna restart it. I'm trying to give everybody a little bit of time here with all these things.
Okay, in this training module, you'll be learning how to perform a hill start and practice the switch from throttle to braking as you crest a gradient and go from ascending to descending. You'll be using GEES-44C4 locomotives hauling heavy intermodal freight. Now you'll go through the steps needed to take over this locomotive.
That was it. It thought that the handle was out and then it was in, so it got weird. So that's why I took it out and put it back in.
Independent on, auto off. Throttle on, independent off. Let's go through that slowly and understand why. If you apply power too quickly, the wheels will slip. If this happens, reduce the amount of power to regain control and then gently reapply. If you are struggling for grip, apply sand to increase traction.
Where is the sander on this one? Oh, square. Okay.
That's it. You're moving forwards under power. If you use the same start process every time you begin moving, it'll become second nature.
I gotta go via, put a little bit more power in. Started to coast, but I didn't realize we were climbing a hill here. I think we did a few of these scenarios for Cajon. I'm gonna try to go through and do as many, because I see that not everything has showed up in the training center. Only things that they want you to do in the training center showed up in the training center. So there are still some trainings that are outside of the training center that we just have to be aware of here. And then there's also like those line introductions that just give you a little extra point in the right direction. Okay, when we get to about 45, I'm gonna pull back. I wonder if they're going to want us to use the dynamic brake on this one. They may. Kind of hold the speed as we go down the hill. 45 looks good. Let's see if the sequencer works on this one. It works very nicely.
Congratulations, you have reached the summit. As you start your descent, you'll need to switch to dynamic brakes to control your speed.
Okay, did that already.
The most effective speed for dynamic brakes is around 30 miles per hour. So if you're exceeding that speed, you should be slowing down. Above 30 miles per hour, the dynamic brakes become a lot less effective, and you would be more reliant on the automatic brake.
So there's a little bit of automatic.
The automatic brake on its own will not provide enough fine control over the speed of the train. It's a blunt instrument, because you can't partially release the brakes, and they take a few minutes to apply to the setting you've asked for. If you try to rely on just the automatic brake, you will often find yourself coming to a halt, or going over speed while you wait anxiously for the brakes to apply. Watch the train speed as it crests the top of the gradient. You'll go from needing power to maintain speed to finding that power starting to accelerate the train. When you see that, start backing off power and aim to keep your speed below 30 miles per hour. Now, once your throttle is at 0 and you're starting to pick up speed a little, it's time to get the dynamic brakes into their setup position. They'll need to be there for 10 seconds before you can use them further. Start adding dynamic brake as needed to keep the speed in check. The dynamic brake is only on the locomotive and will react nearly instantly. As you begin to get to larger amounts of dynamic brake needing to be applied, it's time to bring in the automatic brake to help. In most cases, a minimum set of automatic brake is enough. Apply that now. Watch out that on some locomotives, as you apply the automatic brake, this will cut the dynamic brake out entirely. This is because of the brakes applying on your locomotive. If you notice this happening, pull the independent brake towards you into the bail-off position, and it will release those brakes only, leaving the automatic brake on the rest of the train. And you will see the dynamic brake come back into action immediately. As the automatic brake begins to take effect down the length of the train, you'll notice the train begin to slow down due to the extra braking effort. Gently dial back the amount of dynamic brake to compensate for this, and continue to try and aim to keep your speed around but not exceeding 30 miles per hour. If you find that full dynamic brake is unable to hold the train speed, add a little air with the automatic brake. Wait to see how the train reacts, and adjust with the dynamics as needed. Always work under your target speed of 30 miles per hour. If you find yourself chasing faster speeds, you'll need to take more substantial corrective action with the automatic brake. Okay, come to a stop up ahead using the automatic brake.
So we're just using the dynamic brake as we go downhill here. Again, they said it works best between 10 miles an hour and 30 miles an hour, so just trying to hold it there. What it's using is using the traction motors here, which is good because you get less wear on the braking system. You already have these giant engines to begin with, so it's not a bad idea to use those giant engines to slow down the train. And this is a lot more responsive. I like seeing the train with the dynamic brake. Where's this 2,000 feet? It feels like we gotta go all the way up around the hill again. So I see our stopping point coming up. It's going to do a little bit more dynamic here, just to give us a better, slower speed for our stop. Something that we can control a little bit better. so we're becoming trip optimizer 2. I guess I should have started that a lot earlier. So just one thing with these giant freight trains, you gotta get a lot. You gotta start stopping a lot earlier. Cause look at this, we completely like missed it, and we're in full. $388 feet. Wow.
Right. Well, that concludes this training module. It is highly recommended that you practice both hill starting and the change from ascent to descent until you are comfortable with them. They are one of the more challenging aspects of operating heavy freight, and you'll really feel like you're in more control of this train as you get the hang of this task.
All right, let's see. Let's go back to the main menu. Let's see if there's any more like line introductions or anything else that we need to take care of now. All right, another line introduction here.
Welcome to Oldenburg op Bahnhof, located in Lower Saxony, Germany. Oldenburg is located between the port city of Bremen to the east and Groningen in the Netherlands to the west. Oldenburg op Bahnhof originally opened in 1879, although this new Art Nouveau building was opened in 1915 after 4 years of construction. There's a missing route map over there. Let's fix it while you're here. There are lots more tasks to discover throughout this route. Make sure to apply all the route maps, restock first aid points, put up posters, and collect statues. Your train has arrived. Let's climb aboard. Sit down in any available seat. This train is a DB BR110, renamed from a Boré E10 in 1968.
So we're just going through some route introductions.
The railway connection between Bremen and Oldenburg was opened in 1867. The first station was a converted goods shed before being replaced by a neo-Gothic style station in 1879, which itself was replaced in 1915. The Bremen to Oldenburg line runs for 44 kilometers through Lower Saxony and carries a variety of freight and passenger services. On this route, you'll learn how to operate this BR-110, the BNR DZF 463 Enwagen control car, the BR-425, and the BR-155. Take a trip to the late 2000s and experience frequent regional passenger and heavy freight services. Be in control of classic and modern traction as you traverse through the heart of northern Germany. Electric containers and Enwagens await. This is Trainsim World Bahnstrecke Bremen-Oldenburg.
Okay, that intro is done. We did the 110 already. You can catch that in one of the past streams. We're going to take a look here to see if there's any more line introductions that we have so far. I think we have a few more because we downloaded some more stuff. Yeah, I have to see if they were supposed to. So one of the last few games, they would transfer over all of your data that was stored in the Dovetail site. But everything automatically loaded into Dovetail. So I'm just wondering what is holding all that stuff up. Then it's like saying I didn't do scenarios when I did scenarios already. Not that I don't know if I want to do them all again. That's the only problem. I like to move forward and do like the newer ones instead of going back to the older ones all the time. But I'll double check and see if what the plan is for that.
Welcome to Trainsim World 2, an immersive and highly
Trainsim
detailed
World
rail
2.
simulation featuring authentic routes and trains from around the world. You've just been awarded some action points. These are displayed in the top right corner of the screen and count towards your overall experience. It is
I've been in the station. I took pictures of this. Hold on for a second. Let's call my wife. Right, yeah, we actually went to this station.
This is one of many interactives to be discovered, but not all of them will be as easy to find as this one. A lot of time will be spent operating trains, so when ready, sit in the driver's seat. You can pause the experience at any point and review previous and current objectives. Check it out now and then return to the game when ready. A heads-up display has appeared on the right-hand side of the screen. This is a guide to what the train is doing. This is the speed display. The
Oh,
white needle
that's
shows
using the
current
old
speed.
one.
The red marker
That's
indicates the
interesting. There's no
maximum
update
permitted
on it.
speed. This is the direction display. An arrow will indicate forward, reverse, and neutral directions. This is the power display. A number will indicate what position the power control is in. These are the brake indicators. They show the state of the various brake systems, allowing independent management of them. In the top right are the signal and speed limit displays. Some of these displays can be hidden via the settings menu for a more...
I think this one is broken. None of it was responding. Okay. Alright, so now we know that it looks like on each of the older ones, the tutorials need to be redone. Alright, we'll figure all that out. Let's see this one, yep. Alrighty. Alright, so on that note, we will wrap things up for today. We got a lot done. Let's see if anybody else is streaming here. We can go hang out with. Alright, we're gonna hang out with Levon, playing Star Citizen, which I haven't played yet. I don't think I will. It's a lot of things. But I watch people play it. Alright, everyone, have a great week. We'll check you hopefully back on Thursday. Stay safe, everyone. Alrighty.